It's Heather Bruce from Built for Everybody. I am here to help you navigate through the fitness obstacle course, if you will. I want to help people navigate through some of the challenges, some of the pitfalls, some of the questions that you might have getting started with fitness, or if you're already in fitness and you're just kind of going, now what, maybe perhaps looking for the next level, or you're looking for some inspiration, motivation, whatever it is. I am the owner of Built for Everybody, and I have been in business, the biz, so to speak, for 35 years. Hard to believe. I can't believe it either. I've done the math. But I am a fitness coach, a nutrition coach. I'm an elite personal trainer and a group fitness instructor. I've kind of seen fitness through all of the incarnations since I started at about 18, and I've moved on through pregnancies and ultimately hysterectomies, and here I am in menopause. So how does that commercial go? We know a lot because we've seen a lot. Yes, that's me. I'm also the co host of Indelibly Imperfect, which is a wonderful podcast stream that my friend Crystal King and I do. Um, our original audience really was about navigating through that second chapter of life, but we're kind of expanding and really just talking about things that matter in terms of not just the second chapter, but in general. So we've done episodes on, having kids to having grandkids, and now just recently dating in our 50s. So I'd like to begin a podcast stream that talks more specifically about health and wellness, because I know that a lot of people have questions and concerns about that. I'm really into function. So many people come to the health and fitness table for different reasons. Like I said, I started at a younger age for different reasons, but now I'm really into function. So I really help people improve their daily lives through nutrition and movement. But that's not what I came here to tell you. So today's episode is about getting started, just flat out getting started. Okay. Because we all talk a good game, right? Oh, I'm going to get, especially people, how many times have you heard, oh, I'm going to wait till January 1, right? New Year's, that's it. And so, then New Year's comes and goes, and then it's like, okay, well, spring will come, and then I'll take off the weight for summer. And then summer comes and goes, and it's like, hell with it, I'll just start again in January. So I want to talk to you about getting started. And I think that the most important thing that I can talk to you about getting started is, why are you not getting started? Okay, take that in for a minute. Why aren't you? What is it that is holding you back and has you immobile, so to speak? Okay. And I can think of many different reasons. Sometimes it's really hard for people to figure it out, right? Especially if you're in the middle of it and you're like, I can't seem to get motivated. What the hell is wrong with me? I can tell you that the biggest barrier to getting started is not knowing where to start. Okay, we are being flooded with information in the media. YouTube, I'm as bad, so I'm not picking, right? You're on YouTube, you see people like me. Instagram, I might be there. TikTok, okay. So Facebook, so you are going to see a lot of flooding, and there's a lot of information promising you a lot of things, right? And then there's all the diets, right? So there's intermittent fasting, and there's keto, and there's the Mediterranean, and there's the zone, and there's paleo, and there's carnivore, and there's low carb. I mean, my God, we could go for days. And as you know, this has changed. Every couple years we have a new thing that the fitness industry is finding. So it goes back to, the fitness industry is learning as we go, just as, and there's been many incarnations, certainly since I've started, just like, you are learning as you go. And what I have found is that there is no perfect diet and exercise plan. There's no perfect program out there. There's no magic. What am I looking for? Magic wand. There's no silver bullet. Okay. But what I have learned is that the most important thing for you to stay with a fitness program or a nutrition program is something that you can live with that fits your lifestyle. Okay. So if you're sitting on the fence, if that's one of your barriers going, I don't even know where to start because I don't know which program is for me, I'm going to tell you to be very honest with yourself and ask yourself, what can you and can you not live with? Okay. If you know you can't live your life without eating bread, then don't go, breadless. Don't start a program where you're never ever allowed to eat bread. Come on. You know you're not going to be able to keep that up. If you know you're the kind of person that has to have carbs per se, then don't go on keto. If you know you're the kind of person that enjoys salty foods or fat, then don't go on a no fat diet, which actually I wouldn't advise that anyway. I think no fat is probably one of the worst things you can do. Healthier fats are for you or better for you. But I'm saying to be really honest with yourself. Okay. The other thing I think is a big barrier, again, going back to being overwhelmed, is when you kind of stand there and you look at all of it, right? And you put it into like this overwhelming mode of, okay, I have to have a nutrition plan. Okay, I have to have an exercise program. I got to go to the gym 3, 4, 5 days a week. I'm going to have to exercise at least an hour, 5 days a week, all this stuff. You will never do anything. Are you hearing me? Let me repeat it. You will never move. You are going to stand at the edge of the forest. You are going to look at all of the trees and you're going to be terrified to take that first step. I'm asking you to just stop. Nothing is perfect, and you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to do everything all at once. That's another issue that I have with many clients. They'll call me and be like, okay, I got to lose 100 pounds. I got to quit smoking. I got to stop drinking all this coffee. Oh, and by the way, I drink too much alcohol and I want to do it right now. You know, don't stop. That is a sure way to get yourself into some, uh, to quit. If I'm honest, you will quit. Change my camera just a little bit. So there. Sorry. If you are on the podcast, you did not see, but if you are actually watching me on YouTube, I'm sitting in front of my picture that is it has a hand, but it looks kind of creepy, on camera. So anyway, um, what I'm saying to you is if you put all of that on yourself in the very, very beginning, you're never going to do anything. Why would you? That's scary. It's too much. So, one step at a time. I tell my clients, and I do the same thing for myself. Just take one step into the forest, okay? Take a big, deep breath and just take one tiny step into the forest. And each step you take will open up a new path, okay? And it may not be the right path for you. So what? There's other paths. You hearing me? There's many paths to get you to the other side of the forest, but you don't know what path to take until you take a step. So that's the first thing that I find with my clients when it comes to being overwhelmed. A, they don't know what program to start. B, they're afraid because there's just so much that they have to give up. And that's another thing. Whenever I work with my clients and even myself, I don't believe in giving up anything. I believe in adding. Okay. So take that off the table as well. Oh my God, I'm not ready to give up these things. I'm not ready to give up this lifestyle or whatever it is. You're not giving up anything. You're going to add things. All right. So I went over being overwhelmed, to the point where you're like, there's just so much that I'm going to have to do. I don't know if I can do it all, so you don't do anything. There's so much I have to learn, and I don't know the answers to that, so I'm not going to do anything, right? So I want to move on to another biggie, and that is being self conscious. So I talked to a lot of people when I started my business, built, because I had really done most of my fitness work in the gym. Okay, so I've worked in gyms always, really. And I've never felt that gym intimidation that you hear so much about, right? Like, oh, I would go, but everybody makes fun of me. Or I've heard things like people are, there we go, a little different light. Um, a lot of people say to me that there's people making fun of other people in gyms, which I just find disgusting. And I have never seen that myself, but I know that it's real. Um, if you are self conscious about being in a gym because A, you don't like the way you look, or B, you're afraid you don't know how to, do the moves, you don't know what equipment to get, right? I'm telling you to relax, okay? Because there's other ways to skin the cat. If you feel very intimidated about going to a gym in general, I work with many clients like this. I go into their homes and we get started. Yes, I work with some clients that will never ever be comfortable in a gym, and there is nothing wrong with that at all because most of the things that I personally do in a training situation can be done in a gym or, at home. Okay. So don't think you have to get a gym membership to get into shape. You don't. Okay. That's number one. If you feel that you do want to get involved with a gym, you do want a gym membership, but you're kind of scared because you don't know where to start. There's plenty of programs at the gym. So, in other words, there's group fitness classes, which is a nice way to dip your toe in there. Okay. There's personal training at gyms, which they'll be happy to set you up with, so that they can go through the equipment and usually that's an introduction. You're going to need more than that, by the way, than just the intro. I know because I used to do them, and there's a lot of information to get through in like a 30-minute orientation. So there are ways to skin this cat, yes? But it comes back to what I said about just moving, taking a step. As far as the nutrition program goes, there's nutritionists, there's nutrition coaches just like myself, or there's just, trial and error. There's nothing wrong with trial and error. Right now, I'm doing intermittent fasting, and I'm doing it because I need to try everything that my clients are out there talking about, right? So, I've done keto and I've done the Mediterranean, which I love. By the way, Mediterranean, number one for heart and diabetes, overall health. It's awesome. I'm not big into diets. I'm big into lifestyle changes, but that's a whole other animal. I'll get there another time. But, as far as what you're looking for, don't be afraid to just try it. How bad can it be? You're not going to get hurt that way. Okay. And you can always enlist in professional advice. Again, you can watch YouTube. You can, my gosh, they're all over the place. I would tell you to look into more of kind of science and even anecdotal, which isn't really science, but instead of be wary of people trying to sell you something, I think is what I'm trying to say to you. Okay. When I share with intermittent fasting right now, and I'm doing that on Instagram and TikTok, I'm not trying to sell you an intermittent fasting video. What am I trying to say? An intermittent fasting program. I'm trying to share with you what my ideas and thoughts are. Now, of course, I am a personal trainer and a fitness coach, the whole bit, a nutrition coach. So that's my business. I have clients. I work with groups. I work with individuals. But on the other hand, I'm not trying to come out and just sell you. So watch that because a lot of people are trying to sell you, and you really want some cold hard facts. Want to get into the cold hard facts. So we talked about the barriers of being self-conscious. I don't know anything. I don't like the way I look. First of all, let's go back to the way I look for a second. And I told you you don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to go to a gym. But that is ridiculous, and that is not your fault. Okay, so don't feel like don't even do that. It's ridiculous that you're terrified to go into a gym or to start a program because you're not already there. You haven't already arrived. That's the whole purpose of starting a fitness or exercise program. right? You're not there. You haven't arrived. And I got news for you. I don't know anybody that has arrived and stays at arrival. Life changes, our bodies change for all kinds of reasons. Okay. Like I said before, I mean, I started this as 18 and now I'm 53. So my needs have changed, my body has changed a million times over. Um, Also, I don't believe in one body type, and if you are worried that you need to fit into a mold or something like that, again, I would really encourage you to think otherwise. You have your own body, it is God given. I like to tell all my clients that I would love to go back to when Mr. Rogers was still here, when he said that you are special and there isn't anyone else like you. That is exactly how I train. And I would hope that you find a trainer or a fitness class that feels the same. So we're looking for you to be the best version of yourself. Okay, not something that you have seen on TV or in the media that you think is the way you should be or whatever, so that you're fit. The other thing I'm going to tell you about a barrier to getting started are the what ifs and the fear factor. And I know a little bit about this because I also went through it. So whether you are like openly thinking this where you're being really, you can actually tap in and access it, or maybe it's just still kind of under the wire, you're not quite sure, but there really is. I don't want to say it's a fear of success, and I've heard that over and over. Oh, you're afraid to be successful. I'm not afraid to be successful. I have never been afraid to be successful. I don't know too many people who are really terrified of being successful, but I do know that sometimes we're afraid of change. And I do know that sometimes we're afraid of what will happen if we do reach our goals, meaning, especially when it comes to becoming fit. Um, will my friends still like me? Will I still have things in common with them? Will I still be, able to, have entertainment with them, especially if your friends, big night out is, going and eating and drinking, or uh, junk food or whatever it is that you think is going to be adverse to your health and wellness program. Okay. Um, I am going to tell you straight up, do it anyway. You're not going to lose your friends. Okay. You don't have to lose your friends and you don't have to lose your lifestyle. If you are truly embarking on a healthier lifestyle and a lifestyle that is emotionally and physically beneficial to you, you will not engage in behaviors where you have to give up your social life, your friends, your husband, your children, okay, whatever it is, your movie night, whatever it is. If you need to do that in order to maintain a certain weight or function, let's say on an exercise program, then I think we need to rethink your fitness program in general. Because being healthy isn't about abstaining. That's why I say you need to add things and not taking things away. Being healthy has to do with your mental, physical, and emotional or spiritual self. Okay. And how can you be emotionally and spiritually satisfied if you cannot partake in the actual pleasures in life that you so desire? When I first started on my journey and I was 18, and I had put on, I was never skinny, and I grew up in the 80s where that's just not acceptable. Yeah. And then, and so by the time I was like 16, 17, 18, I had really packed on even more pounds than necessary. And it was emotional and it was physical. There were a lot of things at play, right? Especially when you're a teenager. Um, and in order to really drop that, in the beginning, I didn't, but then I really got obsessed with taking off the weight. Okay. And I did some behaviors that really weren't healthy, and I'm not talking about bulimia or anything, and I'm not putting that down in the sense that to say that, oh, I wasn't bulimic, but I was really obsessed with what I put in my mouth. Okay, too obsessed. And then at one point, I got to the point where, I just was almost starving myself. And that's actually not, so there are eating disorders and then there's disorderly eating. Yes. So I was disorderly eating because in my mind, I had this picture of myself that in order to be perfect, I had to be a certain weight. And I missed out on a lot of fun. I had turned down going out to dinner with friends, maybe going out to drinks with friends. There were a lot of activities that I had turned down because I was terrified that I would gain weight if I engaged in them. I'm telling you, that is not healthy. Okay. Health and wellness is about living your best life. Okay. It is not about starvation or deprivation or giving up the things that you love so that you can maintain a certain weight, size, whatever it is. Those of you're going to get to know me a little bit better because I plan on creating more and more of these episodes. You're going to find that I'm not impressed with BMI. I'm not impressed with the weight on the scale. I'm not impressed with your size. Okay. I am very impressed with how well you're living and your blood pressure and your cholesterol, the way you feel, how much energy do you have, your stamina. Um, I'm not impressed with a number or an ideal that has been shoved down your face in terms of health and wellness and what that's supposed to look like. Okay. Because it's different for everybody. Um, so let me just recap real fast. There were three things that I wanted to talk to you about, which I feel are some of the biggest barriers. The first one I said was being overwhelmed. Where do I begin? Where do I start? I don't know. There's so much information. What is true? What isn't? What am I being sold? And more so, where do I even begin in general? Do I have to give everything up? Do I have to quit smoking? Do I have to quit? You have to quit smoking, so don't start. You should stop that stuff. But with that said, don't show up and go, today is the day I quit smoking and drinking coffee and drinking alcohol and eating, and I'm going to exercise, even though I hate exercise. So you know that you're setting yourself up for failure. So being overwhelmed, I think, is the number one thing that holds people back in their tracks. They just don't even know where to begin, and they're afraid they're going to have to give everything up. Number two, being self-conscious. I don't want anybody to know that I don't really know what I'm doing. I am embarrassed to try to exercise when I'm afraid I don't know how. And I'm afraid to show vulnerability. Maybe it's because I don't like the way I look. Maybe it's because I'm not, confident with knowing everything because I haven't yet arrived on my fitness journey. Which we've already debunked because the whole reason of getting started on your exercise, movement, fitness, nutrition, whatever it is because you haven't arrived. And none of us will ever arrive. We just do the best we can. Okay. And then the third I talked about goes back to really being overwhelmed again in terms of giving up my social life, the what ifs, I should say, not giving everything up, but the what ifs. And that is being overwhelmed. But what if I can't eat this? What if I can't go to a birthday party? I see that a lot too, by the way. It's like, well, I'll start after the birthday party, or I'll start after this holiday, or blah, 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 because I know I'm going to eat. You start right now. Okay. If your fitness, exercise, nutrition program is preventing you from being a part of important social behaviors, then it's not for you. Okay. It's not for you because you need to be able to live your life. That's what this is all about. And I will tell you that health and fitness runs about an 80-20. So 80% on, 20% off for all kinds of reasons, from holidays to vacations to being ill, right? Injuries, we've all been there. So as far as giving everything up, that's not how we want to do it. And the biggest takeaway I want you to know is I don't want you to think that to become healthy, to improve your fitness, your movement, your nutrition, that you have to give things up and take things away. In fact, I'm going to encourage you to add things. Okay. All right. I've talked enough. That's the episode, how to get started. If you feel like you're still struggling on your own, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, YouTube, I know, has a lot of things, Instagram, all these social media platforms. Remember that you can take fitness classes, you can get started that way. And the other way to do it is to hire a personal trainer. And again, you don't have to go into a gym. You can always have that person come to your house. Okay. There's boutique gyms out there as well, where it's kind of a smaller group so that you don't feel like you're like inundated. All right. If you like what you see, I think I was supposed to say that in the very beginning, but I'll say it again. If you, or I'll say it now and then I'll like throw it out. I'm learning, I'm getting better as I go here. So go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I think there is a bell on there for notifications if you wouldn't mind doing that. Also, go ahead, post your thoughts in the comments. I do have a group built for everybody. It is on Facebook. I'm looking to expand that a little bit more, but if you have any specific questions, feel free to either put them in the comments. But if you would like to, if something you have to ask me isn't something that you're really comfy sticking online there, go ahead and shoot me out an email at info@everybody.fit. The same thing with my website is builtforeverybody.fit. Okay, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I know there is a ton of information and people out there yakking at you. So thank you for giving me your time. And I hope that I've been able to help you out a little bit today. All right, you crazy kids. I'll talk to you or I'll see you in class.